But we also have good friendship with the interaction with other Rotarians. Primarily, the Rotary Club at Dallas puts on the event, but we have volunteers from each time over 10 other Rotary Clubs in this district, which is a third of them. We have participants from the, oh, what's this all about? It's for the winning teams. That's right. We give away prizes. They get true rewards before they pack up and go home. And the rewards have climbed. The first place team last year, we were able to give them laptop computers.
Wow.
Many of these kids, it's the first computer they have in the house. They've been on the computer at the library, but to have one at home was super powerful for them. It said, brought back that they made all the difference for them. We give away cash prizes for second and third place. And the dream is someday to be able to give them all a laptop computer. We found that many of the students who participate, they are the top students, but they had not been exposed to business or business leaders. And they haven't had some of the things we take for granted. I'm surprised at how many books we have, I've had in my house and things I provide. That for these top students, they don't have as much. I think if they're doing this well with what little they have, with a little more, they can do much bigger things. And that's where we're also working to help them with a newsletter that goes out after they participate in the camp. It's in scholarship information, dealing with it. The North Texas, I keep wanting to say NTSU, but it's not that anymore, is it? What's it called now? University of North Texas, that's right. The old NTSU, that shows how I've been in the area. They're a good jazz band up there too. But NTSU sent their volunteers from the Murphy's School of Entrepreneurialism. And these students spent time with the students who were a few years behind them, and they created the database to help with college transition. What do you need to know that first day you show up and your roommate is whatever, has the pet boa constrictor or something, or how do you deal with financial aid? And it's ended up being a pretty good newsletter they continue on with. So I love Camp Enterprise. That's the background of it. It's been going on in this area for over 20 years. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Is it fully sponsored by the Rotary Club or just this club?
The downtown club has a budget to take 80 students or so. But other clubs are able to send their own students, so you get a bit of a mix. And the idea was at one time we'd have every club send a couple students, like is being done with RILA. Problem is, the Dallas Club would like to maintain the ownership of that project. And other Rotary clubs want to participate in what they can get more ownership in. So it hasn't grown to that area, but you'll see students from Carrollton, Farmers Branch, and Plano out there as well, and those clubs will send $300 to pay for the cost of the 4 days. That includes the meals and everything else we do for them out there. Yes?
Okay, so how do the students get to participate? Do they apply for it, and how's it promoted? You know, all that sort of thing.
It's promoted through the counselors. And there are a few slides here that may have had rooms with lots of people. The Camp Enterprise Committee, one of the big jobs is to go out and talk to the school's counselors. And the counselors change. It seems like they don't stick around in one area, and they're way overburdened with the amount of work they've got to do. So we tell them about this great camp, and we're looking for recommendations. They recommend the students send on an application, and we'll get about 300 applicants for 100 spaces. And that's the way it's been promoted. The other clubs will have relationships with their schools. Like we currently have a relationship with Lake Hill Preparatory School. Great school. They've had worked with the Rotaries in the past. The counselors are already writing letters about how much impact we've had with the RILA program with their students. They're loving us already. They do want to participate more. We would go out and ask them for top students. The camp would sponsor them, and the recommendation of the other Rotary clubs is sufficient with the check to support the student. That's how they get there. Any other questions? No?
How many Rotarians do you have?
It does vary. It is the #1 project in the downtown club, and generally they'll have about 50 of their Rotarians off there. with the other clubs sending in 1 or 2 each. And many of the shifts be very short. How many hours is that? Like 3 full days. Whatever it is. Take that number, divide it by 4. That's the number of 4-hour shifts they've got to fill. Then multiply that by 5 because they want 5 Rotarians on. We have a nurse full-time out there. We have an office manager full-time out there. We need people to stay in the dorms with the students. Believe it or not, that's been a challenge. Because in Dallas, filming this, let's just cut this out, Eric, when we put this on the website. The Dallas has an older group of Rotarians. When they're 70, they don't want to stay with the 18-year-old girls all night. So they always seem to have a shortage of people to stay in the dorms with the girls. The guys, they don't care. The old guys will show up and they don't care. they run down pressure. So dorm counselors to stay in the dorm with the students. We need 5 of those as well. So when you start multiplying the number of spots, we could use about 150 volunteers. But unfortunately what happens is you have the same volunteers just doing shift after shift after shift, going out there on Thursday and staying until Sunday. And that's how we're helping. Yes?
So can a non-Rotarian volunteer?
Yes. The problem is, the ISD requires us to do a background check. We go online and we do background checks online. So for those who want to volunteer, I'll show you how to go online and do the ISD background check. But as Rotary, generally, they're looking for it to be a Rotary sanctioned event. Yet many of our speakers are non-Rotarians. And it's been a good way to introduce people to Rotary when they come out and see what good is happening with the students and just spend a day out there. All right, that doesn't look very exciting, but it's a lot of fun for potential Rotarians to see some of the good work we do locally. And unlike the Ryla camp, where unless you're a member of the program, you can't just go out there and watch it. Here, you go out there for 4 hours. You can see it, all lights, do whatever needs to be done. Yes?
Did you say it was in Midlothian?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know where that is.
Just go south, 75, 69, right?
Someone told me it's like an hour away.
It's probably like 45 from downtown.
So it'd be at
So
least
it's
an
possibly an hour
hour.
probably from here. Possibly, yeah. I think it's about 45 from downtown.
And I should know it because I've been out there about 9 years now. And I go home at night some years and I stay at it. And if you volunteer to be a group leader, they'll let you stay they'll let you campsite down there. But I think it's about 45 minutes. I think it's even quite an hour. But that's just maybe my driving too. Yes.
So is it always in September?
We try to catch them as soon as they go back to school. We moved it back the first week, third week in August when they started school earlier, and we've had schools starting at different times, I guess. And there was what's that holiday? Is that Labor Day that comes up? Trying to work around that because it was terrible to try to camp the weekend, of that weekend. And the other thing is these students, a lot of them are in the band, or they're on the football team. And after the third week of school, you can't get them to give up Friday night. They've got other obligations, and they're required to stay out there full time. So it's usually the first or second week of school, August to September, in that range. And we're also working with the Salvation Army.
Also, how do we actually go about getting some people from here to volunteer? What do we need to do?